All right, what is up, fight fans? We are back for another episode of the Parting Shot here on the South Florida Tribune Network. I'm your host, as always, Stephen Rochelle. Being joined today with me is Mr. Mo Muhammad King Lawal. How are we doing this afternoon, Mo?
Man, I am good. I am good.
It's a fun time in the combat sports world. Obviously there's always stuff to talk about and things of that nature. Just had another great weekend of combat sports, and we just seen Eddie Hall stop Pujanowski last night as well. Yeah. It's crazy seeing the type of I guess we'll call them characters that are coming into the combat sports world. Eddie Hall's a power lifter. That's now his second kind of weird fight there. What do you think about just the star power that is kind of driving what is being consumed in the combat sports world?
I like it. I think people are looking for something a little different. You know, you're starting to see a hybridized combat growing, like bare knuckle MMA, bare knuckle boxing, karate combat, CGI. All that falls in the umbrella of combat sports, even amateur wrestling, Abu Dhabi. And you see the crossover events like Jake Paul versus plug-in your MMA fighter, Jake Paul versus plug-in your retired boxer. So I think people just want to see a variety of different forms of entertainment. And I think right now you're starting to see that being pushed to the forefront behind some type of paywall or free on TV. So I like it. The more options, the better.
I mean, I agree with that aspect. It just like, I guess when you go back in the OG stuff, it was just like whoever was the toughest, whoever's the baddest, whatever. But we've seen a lot of changing of the guard of that, I guess, over the last 10 years. I mean, as you were just mentioning Jake Paul, I guess his team put out a post of like the Mount Rushmore of boxing, and they threw Jake in, and obviously being his promotion. Do you feel Jake has a place in this? I mean, obviously he's been cutting his teeth, experience with some of these, some of the lighter weight fighters, but some of the older, combat sports veterans, fighting some welterweights, some middleweights. Do you think we're ever going to see Jake fight his somebody like in his weight class, in his age range?
Only if that person is a bigger name. There are talks of him fighting Gervonta Davis later this year if Gervonta gets past Lamont Roach. He's fighting Chavez Jr. That's a good one. I think that if Chavez Jr. shows up healthy and in shape mentally and physically, I think that he should win. We saw Jake Paul lose to Tommy Fury, right? Tommy Fury is a boxer, but more by name than by habit and by lifestyle. More by name because of his last name. But he dedicated himself to boxing for a few camps and then went on to defeat Jake Paul. So that says something in itself. Jake Paul has a ceiling. Jake Paul is learning. I think that with the right matchups and if he pays off the right promotions, I mean, not promotions, but the right governing bodies, he could get a title shot. But I think right now, what we're seeing him do is he's just doing it for the entertainment. Yes, he has title aspirations, but I think that, I think more than anything, by his actions, you see him going there more entertainment route than title route.
Yeah, I think he's kind of going that way right now. I mean, I hope that we start seeing as he goes along over the next few years to kind of get some more, I guess, like legitimate fights of that nature where you could see him, fighting for a title at some point in time in the next few years. But I mean, not to say he's not fun to watch, regardless. Regardless.
He's fun to watch, but he's so far behind. If you were to get a talented amateur from the amateur ranks, they beat him right now. So like to say that he would go on, he's a cruiserweight, right? He's a cruiserweight. To
Yeah.
say, I couldn't see him beating Gilberto. If Benavidez would move up, he could beat Benavidez. There's no way he'd beating Giant Pataya. There's no way in hell he's beating Giant Pataya. No way. He can't beat Robert Safar. He ain't beating Kovalev. I'm naming guys that, now, if he had the right matchups and if there were to be a champion that had been out for a while and he would pay the governing body off, maybe the WBA, maybe he'd pay them off. He could possibly get a late title shot, but in a sense, like people slip it out because like he hasn't put forth the body of work to garner himself a title shot.
I wholeheartedly agree, and even like you've seen guys like newly signed BKFC fighter Kenzie Morrison's been calling him out for almost 3 years now. Like that would have been a fight for him to kind of entertain before Kenzie signed with Bare Knuckle earlier this year. So it's one of these things where he had some of those opportunities that they either don't want it, don't feel like it's a big enough draw or pull or whatever. I thought Kenzie Morrison would have been a perfect style of fight for him. And he has a name, things of that nature. Go ahead.
Yeah, he does, but at the same time, to the casual person, to the casual fan that doesn't know much about boxing, they would say Kenzie Morrison. We don't like that name. Fight. They say ask for a fight like a Terrence Crawford, some unrealistic name, because the average person doesn't understand how things work and how things move in the world of combat sports in general. So like. Whatever Jake Paul were to do, it would never be good enough.
Yeah,
and that's just coming from just me thinking as a fan, because the fans are rabid. So
I agree. I don't think there's anything he can do at this point in time. He's put himself in that mold, and it doesn't matter what he does. There's just going to be a vast majority of people and just be like they're gonna well, he did it this way, he did it that way. He has an impossible mountain to climb when it comes to winning over the vast majority. Thank God he's got Amanda Serrano in his corner to kind of lend him some legitimacy.
Yeah, regardless, for him to garner more legitimacy, which he has because he's been in the sport for years, to the casual eyes, he's going to have to fight a name that people recognize, and that would never be sanctioned at the moment. So
I don't know if you've seen this. Did you seen that former Philadelphia Sixer Michael Carter Williams is actually going to be making his boxing debut before the end of the year?
Nah, but basketball players have a good track record in the sport of boxing, so I'm pretty sure he'll be successful.
I think it's. I mean, obviously, I'm the Philadelphia guy. Haven't seen Michael Carter Williams in the NBA over the last few years. He retired, but hearing that he just popped up now, going to be making his debut within the next few months, I think that's interesting. Like, I think it's interesting. You see a lot of some of these other stars kind of flipping over to other sports. I mean, we've seen former NFL players hop in the boxing ring as well. We've seen Frank Gore and things of that nature. So it's interesting to see if some of these guys can at least be moderately competitive. Obviously it's going to take a really special athlete to be able to kind of compete there at a high level because of the having to catch up a lot of ground, being as you were a professional in another sport, regardless 5-10 years, whatever. But it's interesting to see.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I want to get your thoughts on this. The whole GFL thing has been kind of blowing up over the last few weeks. Alan Belcher's made his comments on it. The whole GFL situation with the events being canceled, but some of the comments after the fact that they're reaching out to some of these guys trying to get them to fight for nothing and things of that nature, like putting like, oh, we'll give you equity in the company and things of that nature. What are your thoughts on this whole thing? It looks like it's been a mess from the get-go. I just want to get your thoughts on this because it's. We know the combat sports world's pretty wild at times, but this is probably the wildest thing I've heard from a promoter since I've been covering this sport.
Well, I think that they have a great concept, which it had been done already. The AFL. the International Fight League. It was a great concept, but it was just scaled too large. It was too scaled up. They should have started small and then built out. Also, the promoter overpromised. Plain and simple, he threw out big numbers out there, and people came. It's like throwing blood in the ocean. Sharks come swimming. When the sharks came, they signed, thinking they had a deal, and the deal was pretty much, fraudulent. Not fraudulent in a sense, not purposely, but like when you overpromise, it ends up being fraudulent in a sense.
It's just it's a dirty time. I mean, I know it's hard for them considering you've had sponsors step out, you've had promoters step out, and they're kind of left with the dirty end of the stick, so to speak. So I mean, I just hope no matter what happens, I mean, hopefully eventually they'll get their investors and promoters situated. I just hope that you're not really pressuring these fighters to fight for nothing, especially if you have some. What I'm worried about is there actually are guys that are hurting, and they want to get their name out there, and they'll actually try to accept those terms.
I'm not concerned because from what I've seen, most of the people in the GFL, if not all, have somewhat of a name, they have some experience, and they have some type of representation that would steer them the right way.
Yeah, let's hope it gets straightened out before the end of the year, and they're actually able to put on events with a lot of the guys that they were potentially making their fights with them. We'll see how it all plays out, but
it's done. It's like this.
It's like it's stick a fork in them, it's over.
No, we've seen something like this happening before in Affliction. When Affliction canceled that one card with Fedor versus Barnett, what happened? They went belly up. Whenever you see a promotion that's not established canceling cards, that's a death sentence. That means this time's running out. If the UFC cancel a card, okay, because they reschedule it. GFL canceled cards and had them tentatively rescheduled. So tentatively, it's not tangible. Truly, a concrete date is tangible. It's concrete. And right now, they're offering contracts to people to fight for maybe some equity in something that people might buy. Something that people might purchase to tune in to watch, which I don't see. So I'm thinking that they know the writing's on the wall, the fighters know the writing is on the wall, and RIP to GFL. It's over.
Yeah. So ends another promotion.
But it was a promotion through concept. In my opinion, a promotion has to throw an event. The draft wasn't an event. It was a spectacle because it was predetermined, and like the whole AI Star Trek suit was obviously, that means that they flew people out there to do the motions for the AI. So they had everything in mind. It's all predetermined. They knew who they were going to sign. And maybe they just overpromised.
Yeah, but I know you're also a big wrestling fan. Obviously, we just passed WrestleMania, things of that nature, and I came across apparently Seth Rollins and CM Punk might want to entertain an actual MMA fight. Would you be interested in seeing something like that?
Nah, I'm good. Nothing against the WWE, but I watch AEW. Straight up, that's me. I like AEW better.
Hey, listen, we all have our own flavor of ice cream, thing of that nature. We when it comes to combat sports and wrestling, listen, we all have our promotions that we like to tune in, our our fighters or our athletes we like to watch. Are we ever gonna see you back in there for wrestling? I know you were rumored for one time to kind of getting in there. Is that something you're still entertaining, or is that time coming past?
Me and my friend Ryan Quinn, a former MMA fighter from Bellator, my former colleague in the American Top Team, we have some things in the works that we're thinking about trying to do our own type of thing down here in South Florida. So it's going to be blood sport meets pro wrestling meets an MMA organization. So it's gonna be good. It'll be good.
I'm intrigued, my friend. I'm intrigued. I want to hear more about that. Definitely let us know as more of that stuff comes together. I would love to see how that works out for you.
All right, definitely.
Now you've also been involved in movies and stuff like that. Have you seen the new Havoc thing with Michelle Waterson?
No, actually, I haven't been involved in any movies. Like I'm honestly like when it comes to movies, I don't watch combat movies. I like documentaries more. And when it comes to combat sports, like I've been I lived it. So it's hard for me to watch a fictional or some type of like when you're in combat sports, it's like letting a boxer tell a boxer to go watch Rocky. Or hey, if you want to watch a good MMA documentary, go watch Paul Blart Mall Cop. That's a good one. Like it's so so dramatic and everything's MMA isn't so scripted. The fight choreography in MMA, if it looks so clean, it's not clean because a fight's a fight. A fight's never clean. There are punches that are thrown, they're so ugly. There's punches that land, they're ugly, they're clean. And there's some beautiful punches that miss. But in a movie, all the action looks so clean. It looks like the Matrix, and it looks unrealistic. So I can't watch that. I would rather see the hardcore underground, up close and personal, or some type of clean documentary. If I'm gonna watch a movie, it has to be some type of fantasy, over the top, vampire meets werewolves, animation. I'm into stuff like that. Except it's not real. I like to watch the unreal, the fantasy. That's what I prefer.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, my friend. So it's safe to say you're going to stay away from that brawler movie that the UFC's doing with Zack Snyder too.
You know what? Like, no, I'm not gonna watch that. But I hope it's great. Because like I like for people to watch anything and everything they enjoy.
Listen, I hope it's a good movie, but it's one of those things where we've seen enough of them already, and it's like, all right, what different thing are you going to show us? Because we've already seen over the past 10 years, they try to make all kinds of different kind of MMA movies. We've seen The Warrior, we've seen, Never Back Down was absolutely horrendous as far as like when you're looking at the action in that movie, but like, even Kevin James' Goofy Here Comes the Boom, which was even goofier.
Like, my bad. I said Mall Cop. Here Comes the Boom. My bad. Like, for sports movies, like Diggs Time, great movie.
That was a good one, yeah.
Shaolin Soccer, great movie. Let me think. There's anything that's over the top, like Dodgeball, great movie. Waterboy, great movie. Things that aren't real. Like things that are fantasy, like those are good movies because like, they're not real. Like, everything else that's somewhat real, predictable. Usually they're feel-good movies.
Yeah.
You never see on movies about losers. They're about losers that become like some type of big deal or some type of joke or something big. There'd never be a high-selling movie about losers that stay being a loser that no one cared about.
Now, you said what you said on the movie side. Let me go into some recent stuff. Are you a football fan? The draft was just ended yesterday. Do you care about any of that?
You know what? I don't watch football. I'm so out of football. Like the Super Bowl, I just watch the halftime. That's it. I might watch a few plays, but to me, football, team sports are so slow to me. I'm more about individual contests like track and field. I watch that, especially the U.S. championships, the world top championships happening. Boxing, of course, kickboxing, MMA, wrestling, pro wrestling. I just like the contest, I like one-on-one contests or tag team contests.
Only reason I was asking is Dustin Poirier announced the Saints picked it over the weekend. So
I've seen it. That's great.
So he was down there involved with that, and obviously the news just came out. Dustin's retirement fight, as him and Max are going to lock up for a third time. Are you excited for Dustin's send off there?
Yeah, man, Dustin should do his thing. I hope that he gets a chance to get a clean highlight reel knockout, and then retire with the BMF title. That's you want to finish on top, and I think that Dustin. He'll do that. I think he will finish on top with a nice finish in front of his hometown. In front of his home people in his home state.
I'm really looking forward to it. Dustin's one of the OGs. I mean, you're talking about documentaries and things like that. I mean, his documentary was the first big one that I watched of in the combat sports world. So I definitely got love and respect for Dustin. I hope he gets it done and has his hand raised when everything's said and done when that fight comes to an end.
He will. He'll win. He's a winner.
Then I want to ask you this one. I came across a goofy post, Luke Thomas was seeing a guy was covering a regional fight. Guys still sitting there in his shorts and in his wraps, taking a shot at the bar. He's like, what, MMA scene is wild. I mean, have you ever had a wild encounter, the cornering a guy at a regional MMA event or even something you ever encountered?
No. I've seen fights break out.
Yeah.
I've seen bad decisions, but nothing too crazy at all. Especially, California, the regional scenes there. The California Commission does not play. They're solid. As well as in Florida. Texas can be spotty in some areas, but right now Texas is cleaning up. So I've had the luxury of being in places where I haven't seen anything too crazy or out of place.
Craziest thing I was at an Art of War promotion fight here in Philadelphia, and a guy was coming out throwing money and whatever, and he threw it was fake money, but he was just throwing money around and throws it at the team of the guys he was fighting. Literally a whole melee ensues. People who were in the back had to get shoved back into the locker room and stuff like that. That was probably the craziest thing I came across in the 10 plus years I've been covering combat sports.
A fight that big, huh?
Dude, all right, me and my kids are in the back, right? So he's walking out and goes up the ramp that goes to the ring, and he's just throwing the money around. And next thing you know, I guess he had a handful of it and just throws it at the other team's kind of area. And next thing you know, they're jumping onto the catwalk trying to rip him down. Security comes in, starts pushing everybody out of the way. It was like,
was this at 2300?
No, it wasn't at 2300. No,
I was gonna say because that'd be crazy. At 2300, man, that'd be.
Yeah, I don't even think Art of War's ever been there, but I think it was like upstate PA, not in Philadelphia. But yeah,
okay.
If it probably would have never happened if it was at 2300 because there's just no room to do it in something like that. But yeah, I mean that's I'm glad you mentioned 2300 because that's like hallowed ground there as it being the old ECW arena. Obviously it's been rebranded and renamed, but it's interesting. Now, I was looking through some things. You were loosely rumored to be locking horns in BKFC with Dave Mundell at one point in time. The fight was canceled. Are you ever going to get back in there? I know you've retired for some time and things of that nature, but are you thinking about doing bare knuckle or is that time come and going too?
It's time. It's coming and going. I started training again and I started feeling great. And then, I was feeling good moving around, hitting the pads, hitting the bag, sparring a little bit. And then one day I came in, was working out, and I fainted. And I fainted twice, and I realized like I just work out. Just work out, stay healthy. That's it. And that's what we'll do. Just stay in shape, work out, and that's it. There's no need
wrong with that, brother. Ain't nothing wrong with
I
that.
yeah.
Your health is
Yeah.
worth more than whatever check they would cut you to walk down there and try to do it one more time, man.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Cause I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm not gonna risk anything to. I'm like, I'm good. Like, I'll probably getting cut, going getting stitches. Cause it's bare knuckle. I hate needles and I hate stitches. And I hate getting stitched up. And I was like, you know what? Me fainting like that might have been a sign. So
it might have been, brother. Like, it's one of those things. Like I tell all these people, because if you look what bare knuckle isn't something that I think you could have a really long career, especially if that's where you're starting out at. I don't think that's something that you have for longevity, but if you look, bare knuckles has been kind of kicking UFC in the teeth as far as popularity growing and things of that nature over the last few years. Viewership and stuff. Like, you look at where the UFC was, 5-10 years ago, that no one would want to miss a single card that the UFC puts out. But now you're looking at how things changed over the last 5 years. It's kind of seems like the torch as far as the overwhelming popularity is starting to lean towards where you see what's going on in the bare knuckle boxing world.
Well, I mean, 5 2-minute rounds. Punching, there's no jiu-jitsu. MMA, the rounds are 5 minutes long, which tend to be long. 3 5-minute rounds, where in bare knuckle you have 2-minute rounds, 5 of those, and quite possibly in overtime. The pace is faster. There's no roll in action. It's kind of hard to run. And everybody can relate to a fist fight. Everybody can relate to a fist fight. Not jiu-jitsu, not hip kicks, not knees, elbows, but a fist fight, you see them everywhere. All cultures, all demographics, all, sources of, backgrounds of income, all socioeconomic standards, rich, poor, everybody fist fights. You see them everywhere.
It's just interesting to see how the dynamic has kind of shifted over the last 5 years or so since bare knuckle really started taking off. I don't know if you attribute that to Conor McGregor now kind of being attached to that promotion, now being like a part owner, things of that nature. But I mean, it's just interesting to see, hopefully with this with the UFC's rights deal coming up, the possibility of them landing on Netflix on top of other platforms and going away from the pay-per-view model. Maybe we see the UFC kind of reclaim that torch over the next coming years.
Well, maybe we'll see. I just think that with bare knuckle, it's something new and fresh. It's shorter. People's attention span tends to be shorter right now. People want action now. That's why in MMA, if you see or hear any type of slaps or see anything or hear anything landed in a minute, the crowd starts going. Now, you watch a bare knuckle fight, BKFC, BYB, wherever, you don't see too many going. I mean, hear too much going. You see fist flying and cuts. And the thing about longevity in bare knuckle, there's more longevity in bare knuckle than there is in blood boxing. Because with blood boxing, you're taking far more trauma. Your hands are protected. Take away the gloves and the wraps, your hands are not protected. So a lot of people tend to lose via cut or due to fatigue. And if you punch too hard in the head, you might break your hand. You hit the elbow. You might break your hand. You punch your hip. It's a broken hand. So you have to target certain areas properly. So there's more technical and tactical aspects to the bare knuckle because there's a small room for error because you can get cut anywhere without the gloves.
Yeah, it's one of the things you touched on it. Like, there's nowhere to run. It's action now. Like you said, and like where you have gloves in boxing and in MMA, like there are no gloves, so you don't have not just the hand protection, but also the protection for the defense too. So it changes where you go block and engage too. So it's you definitely get cut a lot more in bare knuckle, but it's what it's I think it's here to stay, but we'll see what the next few years bring. And I hope Dave and them, and regardless if we're talking BKFC, BYB, I love how they have the triangle ring there, so there really isn't anywhere to run in there. So it's
look, one thing, power slap. I love it. Power slap the shit. I love it. Shout out to Wes Miller. I met him out there in Saudi Arabia, and I met a lot of the power slappers, like the Crazy Hawaiian, Pitbull Danny, Dumpling, Vern. These guys are, man, like, they're different. They're wired different. I went to watch Paige Van Zandt compete at the last power slap event in Las Vegas a few months back, and she won. But man, it was electrifying. I think people just want to be entertained through violence or with something that's kind of violent, because that's how society is. That's what we've been pushed to now. Violence, combat, confrontation. That's what people like. You see it in reality TV. You saw it in Jerry Springer. Just fighting in general. People love it. And now that it's done in a contest on TV in a bigger platform, and there are other forms other than just boxing, kickboxing. You have MMA, you have bare knuckle, you have power slap, you have the kick music, the kick thing they do when you take the leg kicks. You see that?
I've seen power slap, but not the kicking aspect. I'm not
yeah,
sure.
I know that's an event. Like the first event, Ice Wars, which is like bare knuckle on skates, on ice. Then they have a thing called the combat kicking, where you take turns kicking each other, and you stand up, I kick you kick me, left leg. I kick you kick me. Now I've seen it on Instagram. Kyokushin karate guys facing Muay Thai guys. It's like in Kazakhstan, it's big in Kazakhstan, but I've seen other events in other countries. And people like seeing that. Abu Dhabi, CGI, NCAAs. You're seeing anything and everything that's related to combat sports becoming bigger. Karate combat,
yeah, because we got Tyrone Spong and Sam Alvey gonna be fighting here, I think next week. So that should be fun.
And me and Tyrone trying to relate for this. Like, that's my boy. He came by, like, we just watched some of Sam stuff, and he's come by a few times, like, in the past, and just, Tyrone, he looks good, man. He's a beast. And, I like what Karate Combat's doing, because it's providing people other opportunities to stay sharp in the combat sports realm. And I think the more they have of that, even like the bare knuckle, the dirty boxing event, I think that's cool. Anything and everything that pertains to combat will help people get paid, and will help people stay sharp, and it will help people stay relevant in the combat sports world. That's important.
Yeah, yeah, all of it. Karate combat. Like I said, I love to see all these avenues. As you were just mentioned, Mike Perry's Dirty Boxing. They're about to have their second event putting on as well. It's like, listen, the more we get, the better when it comes to the exposure to keeping these guys sharp and active, things of that nature. Like, listen, I think I'm all for it. Like, I'm glad that we're starting to see a lot more combat sports, being consumed. I mean, where we were 10, 15 years ago, it was like, the UFC or Strikeforce, and that was it. And, Bellator was there for a little bit. They're now swallowed up by what used to be World Series of Fighting, PFL. That's interesting. Hopefully they can continue to put on fun fights there. But listen, the more promotion, the more good promoters that we have putting on good fights with top level athletes is the better. And you were talking about dirty boxing. Did you see that Mike offered Cain Velasquez a contract for when he gets out of jail?
No, I didn't see that, but this will be the third event coming up, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they can afford Cain, then go ahead, sign him up.
Someone needs to take care of Cain, man. Like, because that situation is just crazy. What happened to him? Like, being a dad, dude. I wouldn't. Listen, I wouldn't have just shot him. I'd be in jail. I'd be under the jail, and the world would be in a better place. The fact, even sicker, that the victims here are now. They want $1 million out of the Velasquez family for damages and stuff like that. I'm like, listen, you're lucky your family member is still breathing, and Cain didn't really, shoot him in a position where the man is no longer on the earth. For what he did, he shouldn't be here. But it's one of those things where I'm glad to see somebody like Mike reach out and be like, listen, when you get out, they're going to offer Cain a contract and get him in there. Cain's also been getting more involved in the wrestling world as well. Before the trial and everything he was doing a lot more wrestling stuff. So, maybe that's something we see him involved in, a little bit of everything. I just think keep his mind busy and not have him worried about that would be the best thing for him when he gets out.
Yeah.
But already past the 30-minute mark. I didn't even know we were still going that far. Before I get ready to wrap this up, Mo, I know, you're not no longer actively competing, but looking on your socials, you are actively trying to educate the combat sports world of people coming up, putting videos together and stuff like that. How often are you in the gym now? I mean, obviously I see you're rehydrating as we're here on air, got the big old bottle of water. How often are you in the gym now, even though you're not in active competition, man?
I'm always doing something. I'm always working out somehow, some way. I'm always active. I'm in shape, just not in tip-top fight shape. Don't need to be. I just need to be healthy and have a low resting heart rate and be somewhat strong, somewhat shape, have a good core stability, and that's how I'm focusing on. So I'm in the gym. I'm at the gym every day besides Sunday and Saturday. Depends on who's training. Because right now, Saturdays are kind of, now that everyone's spot, it's been kind of slow in the gym. But once things pick up come summertime, then Saturday will be heavy again.
Now, are we doing more MMA stuff or more wrestling stuff as you go along?
I do everything as far as I just for me, just for in general, just cosmetics. But when I'm in the gym with the athletes, I'm just helping them with just the combat sports in general. Whether it be wrestling, MMA, whatever. But I haven't done much pro wrestling training in a while. I need to get back to it. But once in a while, I might grab Quinn. We might go over some flow wrestling. But we haven't done it in a while.
I'm sure, as things start coming together, as you're saying, you're working on a promotion with you and your training partner, business partner, things of that nature. I'm sure you'll get back into some regular type of competition that way. But as I get ready to wrap this up, what I typically do is kind of throw the proverbial microphone over to you, Mo. Anyone you'd like to thank, shoot out your social sites, anything you're working with, you would like the people know if you're doing any charities, if you're going to be doing any upcoming seminars in the coming months, things of that nature. The time is yours, my friend.
Man, I ain't got nothing going on right now. Really, I'm just chilling. As I'm at the Kai fighting next week. I got Rizvan and Kunaya fighting in Azerbaijan for Curse Blades. I got a few guys coming up. Jason Eastman's going to be fighting Lawal, the CFFC, and helping them with that. Man, I got just a bunch of guys just waiting to fight. Really, they haven't been booked, but I'm in the gym helping guys prepare for what's soon to come. So really, right now, it's just a slow time. Got my guys in the UFC and other organizations, but really, I'm just chilling, man. Chilling, coaching, and doing some real estate. So for me, a building sold, hit me up. That's about it.
So the post combat sports life has Coach Mo coming out.
Yeah, pretty much. There's nothing I need to do. It's pass on the information that I've acquired to help people succeed.
I love seeing the guys give back. I mean, like you don't really see a whole lot of fighters continue to kind of stay in the gym and give back and coach and things of that nature. Like some of the favorite stuff I've seen over the last few years, some of the stuff that Daniel Cormier does with his wrestling team, and I even seen Justin Gage. He kind of donates a good portion of his purses to kind of give to underprivileged kids so they can get in gyms and not be out on the streets and things of that nature. So I love seeing the guys continue staying in the gym, staying involved, and helping growing the next generation one way or another. So hopefully we see King Mo's multi-faceted combat sports promotion and wrestling promotion launch at some point in time over the next few years. Hopefully we get to see more of your face, my friend. I appreciate your time this afternoon. Go rehydrate. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Definitely would like to have you back on again and here pick some more of your brain as we can.
Thank you, man.
All right, Mo. Appreciate it, and we'll be in touch, my friend.
All right, take it easy.
All right, everyone. That was Muhammed King Mo Lawal, and couldn't ask for a better guy to kind of pick his brain. He's been involved in the combat sports world for some time in just about every different level, from wrestling to now coaching and doing other things of that nature. So couldn't be happier to have him on here. Looking forward to having him back on here again in the future. But as for me, that was another episode of the Parting Shot here, finished on the Florida Sports Tribune. And we will see you guys later on this afternoon. We got another surprise.